Hello and welcome back to Bookmark Chronicles. Today I'm doing a spoiler-free review of the Night Shift series by Christina C. Jones. So I have decided to make it a personal challenge of mine to work my way through CCJ's backlist in 2024. Why? I don't know, but here we are. This was a recent series that I read and I really enjoyed it. What's interesting about the series is that the whole concept of it is sort of fated mates, which is something that I never really thought of outside of fantasy and fantasy romance, and frankly in that context it's not something that I'm interested in. I don't really like it. So I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this series, but I actually really ended up enjoying it. There is one novel and 2 novellas. I listened to the entire series, so I definitely recommend the audiobooks, and they're also available on ebook, paperback, and on her website. So the full novel is called Equivalent Exchange, and in this one we're following Karis and Lincoln. Karis is a graphic designer who is interviewing for a new job, hasn't heard back, but there's just been a lot of things going on in her life and she's kind of in a dark place at the moment, and she ends up having a one-night stand with this bartender one night. And then it turns out that he is not only just a bartender, but also the owner of Night Shift, which is a bar and nano brewery that she has just been hired as graphic designer of. Lakin's family is in the whiskey business, I believe, and he sort of branched off from them and started making beer. And he is convinced that he and Karis are destined to be together. I'm not going to say why because I don't want to give anything away, but I really liked this story. Highly recommend if you like workplace romances. However, there are quite a few content warnings. Content warnings include mention of SA and failed pregnancy, off-page, domestic violence, slut-shaming, death of a sibling in the past, death of a parent in the present, chronic pain, loved one with dementia, seizures, and mention of suicide, also past tense. So going into it, I didn't know all that. I got like halfway through and I was like, okay, there's a lot going on here, but I really enjoyed it and I really like the story overall. So now I have to rethink my perception of fated mates because I definitely did not think that this was something that I would enjoy, but I ended up rating this 4.5 stars. Next, we have Prior Affair. In this one, we are following Haley and Ellis. Yes, Haley and Ellis. Haley is a writer and she recently moved into, I believe it was her great-grandmother's home. It is a very old house, and so she is planning to have things like the wiring and whatnot updated. However, a week before that's supposed to happen, the house catches fire and she loses everything and she now has to rebuild from scratch. Ellis is one of the firefighters that met her that night, and they do end up having a one-night stand again. It was supposed to be just a one-night stand, but for some reason they feel drawn to each other and they can't quite figure out why. A recurring theme that both of the characters talk about is this feeling of deja vu, this feeling that they have met before even though they know that they haven't. And this was a really good story. This one was really good. I didn't quite expect it, but when I got to the reveal I was like, oh, I get it now. That makes sense. So definitely recommend. I think I rated this one 4.25 stars. Then the final one is called Fated Memories. In this one, we are following Katari and Derek. Katari also works at Night Shift because she's related to the owner, Lakin. And Derek is a restaurant owner nearby. This one is actually a second chance romance. I can't remember if they were high school or college sweethearts, but things didn't work out and then they end up reconnecting as adults. And Katari ended up having a conversation with someone who reminds her of a loved one. And basically this conversation encourages her to reconnect with Derek. And that's really all that I can say, but when you realize what character she's talking about, a lot of things start to make sense. So I rated this one 4.5 stars as well. Really enjoyed this series, and I now have to rethink my feelings on fated mates because maybe I don't hate it. Maybe it's only weird in fantasy romance, at least to me. But I highly recommend that you check out the Night Shift series by CCJ. I'll probably do a few more series reviews of other things that I'm reading by her. I'm not going to do all of them because that's just way too many, but I will definitely be reading more. So let me know if you have read the series or if it's on your TBR. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next video.